Hey guys, this is No Solution. I'm Scott, and we got some Blind by Blasphemies today. Kind of a special edition. It's the VCLT that Tony from Life Eternal sent me. So he sent me 5 CDs. I'm going to go through those. First of all, though, I wanted to participate in Jacob's thread going through the alphabet. He's on letter D, so I picked out a couple things to show. First, the Lost Tracks of Danzig. Comes in this kind of almost a long box shaped booklet, 2 discs, and basically unreleased tracks from, I believe, up until Circle of Snakes. Yeah, Circle of Snakes, the 8th album. So inside we got the discs, and then kind of a glued in booklet here. Got some nude ladies on there. You know, Danzig loves his nude ladies. And then it has just kind of write-ups on any notes on the song and where they came from. Some of them, I think, were partially re-recorded, or they weren't finished at the time, and then Danzig finished them. This came out in 2007. And, yeah, really neat collection. I think it's kind of hard to come by now. Disc 1 is definitely the highlight. That's the outtakes from Danzig 1 through 4. And then there's some cool stuff on the second disc, but then we've got some like useless remixes from Danzig 5, Black Acid Devil, which some would say are just remixes anyway. But yeah, cool set. If you come across it, I definitely recommend it. And then I pulled this out, just kind of the oddity of it. It's the first full length from Denial of God, Finnish black metal band. Kind of, definitely black metal, but a bit more doomy black metal. Kind of a cross between doom and black metal. So this is in like a 7-inch package, but it's actually the CD. Folds out with the track list, and then the CD just kind of in a little sleeve there. Yeah, this was the only version I could find at the time when I wanted this album. It's a little inconvenient, but it's kind of a neat little curiosity. I certainly recommend Denial of God if you haven't heard them. Very kind of original take on black metal, again, with a doomy kind of vibe to it. Kind of occult themed. This one is more like almost like monster movie kind of songs about werewolves and vampires and whatnot. Other ones deal more with like Ouija boards and occult topics, things like that. All right, let's get into the 5 CDs. First of all, let's see. We'll go with Left to Die. 2013's a German band. This was their only album. They had a demo before this, but that was it. They've since broken up. The album is called Exit Humanity. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those. I don't have a lot to say about it because, like, it's fine. When the first song started and they started pig squealing, I was like, oh no. But it's not constant. This is, I guess you would say, a little bit on the brutal death metal side, but not fully. I'm really not into that style at all. There's a lot of groove to this one. It's one of those that it's fun to listen to, but I doubt I'm going to come back to it, so I think I'm going to have to pass this one on, Tony. Sorry, but thank you. I enjoyed hearing it. The one thing I thought was odd was the lyrics were much better written than I would expect for a German band, and the lyrics are in English. And you've got, you know, the first full song is called Slut Slaughter. And it's definitely mean-spirited and some would say misogynistic, but not kind of the broken English or just like flat-out vulgarity that I expected. So, yeah, Left to Die. If you're into kind of the brutal side with a little more groove to it, you might dig it. So, yeah, there's that one. Then we'll stay in the death metal, I guess. Skeletal Spectre. This is their debut, Tomb Coven. So the interesting thing about this is on Razorback. Came out in 2009. This band is Swedish, was active from 2008 to 2017. I say band, and a band is listed. Let's see, we've got Behold the Pentagram on bass and vocals, Sacrifice the Virgin on guitar, and Haunting the Beyond on drums. It's a one-man band. This is Roga Johansson project. then he did everything on this one. He did have another vocalist, I think, for 2 of the records, and then it was back to just being him. I don't know if he was being shy at the time and was embarrassed how many bands he had. If you're not familiar with him, look him up on Metal Archives. It's ridiculous how many bands and projects he has. But so this is all kind of horror themed death metal. All the lyrics written by either Billy Nacera or Vanessa, who was his wife at the time and who actually was the vocalist of this band later on. So horror themed as you'd expect from Billy, who runs Razorback and is really into the cult horror movies. But this is super fun, man. It's only 7 tracks. It's less than a half hour, but it is pure Swedish death metal worship, HM2. There's some kind of Celtic Frost influence in there with some of the riffs and definitely some of the vocals at times. The sound is awesome. This is great production, very crushing production. My favorite's probably the title track, but I mean, it's all good. I don't think there's any duds on this. Yeah, so I'm not a big Rogo Johansson follower, but I will probably, if I see more from this, I'll definitely pick them up. So yeah, Skeletal Spectre, pretty cool. Dylan Death Metal D, I'm not sure if you're still on YouTube or watching, but if you are, I think you would really dig this. All right, I'm gonna go to, how about this one? I'll say VORDR, VORDR. This is, there's no title on it. It's listed on Metal Archives as just 3. So I guess there were a bunch of self-titled albums. So based on that cover, I was very surprised with what waited me within. And also I totally whiffed when I opened this because I saw Made in Hellas, and the album or the record company is called Nikta. So I was like, oh, this has to be Greek. Well, the record company's Greek, but this is Finnish. This is Shatrag, mostly known for Horna and Sargeist, but he has a ton of other projects too. And this is quite different. I understand why there's a different project name for this. Based on that cover, I would think like atmospheric black metal, maybe with a little beauty, a little melody to it, but not at all. This is like raw, super necro sounding, punky black metal. 2 to 3 minute songs, mostly. There's 14 songs on here, and it runs about 40 minutes. The vocals are completely insane, like a mix between a shout and a shriek. I think that will be the determination if you can hang with this. They're kind of out there. I thought it worked for the music. The thing about this, I did enjoy it quite a bit. It is pretty one note. After like the first 2 or 3 songs, that's what you're getting the rest of the time. There's not a lot of surprises. They did slow down like once or twice later on. But yeah, this was fun. I don't know if I need more of this. I don't know if if that's what this project is totally. It seemed, looking at Metal Archives, it looks like that is what this is. But I definitely enjoyed this, so I'll be holding on to this one. If you're familiar with Nadirath, which is a project from Wrath of Dodsford, it reminds me of that, but this is much more memorable and just better in general, I think. So yeah, VORDR, I give that a thumbs up. All right, now we'll go to not quite as rave a review. Froststrike. This is called Geistfurt. This is a German band, a one-man project formed in 2010. This is their 2013 debut, and I believe the title translates to spiritual journey. At least that was my Google Translate. That's what they told me. So this is like black gaze. I would say poor man's Alcest, maybe. Most of the songs are very slow to mid-paced. We start out with an intro with like nature sounds and kind of an acoustic melody, and then get into the bulk of the album. 6 tracks, including the intro, and it runs an hour. So these are long songs. The vocals, they kind of go all over the place. There's harsh, there's clean, there's some whispered vocals. He does have a female vocalist on here that chimes in now and then, and they use like a choir effect on her quite often, which is kind of neat. Very mournful, Beautiful in parts. It's pretty lo-fi, which for this kind of music, I would prefer the production to be kind of more full and more lush. I think it would work better with the music. I did enjoy it. Maybe I'm overselling it a bit. I didn't hate it. It was pleasant, and it was on, and I listened to the whole thing. But I did tend to kind of drift off. Like, it kind of became background music at certain points. I'm definitely going to be listening to this again and try to give it more of my full attention. But I think an hour of this, for what the material is, maybe is a bit too long. I did look and see that later albums, the songs are much shorter. So maybe I would enjoy those more. But yeah, it was an interesting listen. So yeah, thanks again for that, Tony. And then my last one, I don't know how to say this. PEORDH. So I'm not even going to try. I'm not going to embarrass myself. And the very brief album title is Glaring from Spacious Woods and Mountains of Eternal Frost. And this is on blackmetal.com, my arch nemesis label. Actually, a color cover for once, though, for them. So let's go. They really went all out. So this is, as I unprofessionally check my notes, another one-man project formed in 2006. I believe it was something else before that, and then the name change was 2006. Based in Virginia in the USA. This came out in 2007. This second full length. It's kind of a mix of pagan folk black metal with I heard some DSBM in there too. Maybe I'm crazy, but the intro is synth and flute, and then you hear some bird sounds and like kind of like a horse walking. Then when their first full track comes on, I Freely Roam, you hear the horse start going like it's running from something. I don't know. I read the lyrics and it's pretty vague. I don't know. I'm assuming there's some kind of concept to this that I wasn't really following. But yeah, then the parts in this are pretty simple, but there's a lot of them. So lots of guitar parts and then synth and, fake sounds mean. Synthetic orchestral parts. The vocals, I think he took a cue from Burzum and found the worst mic he could find to try to make it sound all garbled and weird. It does work though for the music. The first song has a very strange guitar solo that is totally out of place in this song and pretty much the rest of the album. And I did see some people really hated it. I kind of liked it just for how weird it was and how out of place. But yeah, it probably didn't belong there, but it was all right. I didn't really mention, this is 7 tracks, including the intro, and it is 73 minutes long. So you're in for it here. The first song, I couldn't believe it was over when it was over. Like I was into it, and it was like 12 minutes or so. So I was in, and then we kind of continue in that vein, and I was enjoying it quite a bit. The 4th track, An Unbroken Trust, kind of ends with some like a horn section coming in. It sounded very triumphant. I really like that part of it. Then we kind of take a turn for the worse. So now we're halfway through the album. Track 5, The Cleansing Rains. That's where they lost me. There's like a rain sound effect through the whole thing. It's like 12 minutes long. Simple acoustic melodies that were just kind of boring. I was kind of waiting for it to be over. But then I was wishing for that track because the next one, An Image of Truth, is 17 minutes. It's an instrumental, and it's basically plunking one key at a time on the keyboard. There's like a 3-note melody that repeats forever, and then it goes to a 4-note, and then back to the 3-note, and back and forth, and back and forth. I don't know what this was going for, why it had to be 17 minutes, but this was torture. This was bad. So then, the final song, called Carried in Wakeless Flight, I really liked. It's another instrumental. Well, yeah, it is. There's like a very short spoken part in it. That's about another 9-10 minutes. More of a kind of a somber orchestral piece, I would say. It's simple, but not after what we heard for the last 20 minutes. It makes a good finale. It would especially make a good finale if the previous 30 minutes did not exist. So I would say for this, listen to track 4, skip 5 and 6, and go right to 7, and you got a pretty decent listen on your hands. But that 30 minutes right crammed there near the end, oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know, man. Is the preceding 40 minutes good enough for me to forgive that? I don't know. I'm definitely going to listen to it again. I'll probably just skip right over those tracks. Maybe I'll have a better listening experience, but I enjoyed listening to it, and this was much higher than the usual blackmetal.com trash that they put out. So, yeah, I think all in all, I mean, there's 1, 2 I'm definitely keeping, 2 I'm going to listen to again, and 1 I'm not. So, pretty good average there. So thank you, Tony. I really enjoyed listening to those, and very nice of you to send those to me. I guess that is it. If any of you guys follow the wrestling news, I'll just say, now more than ever, CM Punk is a piss baby. Thanks, guys. Later.